Hello, learning partners. It's Sarah, and I want to show you a technique that is actually my number one technique for reading. This will change the way you read, helping you to actually understand and remember what you read. That's the goal, right? We read so that we learn, we understand. So, one of the main problems that most of us have with reading is that we're passive when we do it, meaning we just expect, just because our eyes went over all of the words, that somehow magically, miraculously, they're going to sink in. We're going to make sense of them. And as you know, that is not the case. We have to actually make the sense out of them. It's actually a very active process mentally. So what talk to text does is actually makes us take our mental processes, our thoughts, and make them visible. Put them on the paper. Actually talk to the text. Reading is more like a conversation than it is like a speech, say, or a speech where someone's just talking one way. Reading is actually a two-way conversation. The author is talking to you as the reader, and your mind needs to be constantly talking back. So you actually want to have two voices in your head when you read. You're hearing the author, you're hearing the reading, the words, and then you're also hearing your own internal meaning making. And it's called talk to text because you talk to the text. So let me show you an example of it. And I tell you, though, this is absolutely one of the most powerful strategies. I use this everything I read that I'm going to need to report on, if it's for school or work or professional. It's the expression is read with a pen in your hand. So I also say read with a pen and a highlighter. I find I can't not read with a pen in my hand. I feel like I can't hold on to it. I can't remember it. So let me show you an example. I'm just going to do 2 pages of brain rules, then you'll do the rest. Okay, so let me pull up. So I did copy, I put a PDF of the first 2 chapters of brain rules, but after the first 2 chapters, you have to have your own. So just be aware, hopefully you've already have your copy. Now I would be doing this, I do this on paper. That's why I say get a print copy of the book, because then you can write on it. But if you can't write on it, if you are reading it digitally, sometimes you can annotate. You guys might know tools for that, or you can annotate on a digital document, or at least write down your thoughts on a piece of paper. Best is if you can do it right on the text. Second best, and a good alternative, is actually just write these notes as you're reading, be recording your thoughts as you read. All right, so here's a little demo of it. So I'm going to read aloud as I do it, just so I'm on the right, we're sort of staying together as we read, but you certainly don't have to read aloud. You do this silently generally. Okay, introduction. Go ahead and multiply the number 8,388,628 by 2 in your head. Can you do it in a few seconds? So I wrote no. It's like immediately I was like, no, definitely not. There's a young man who can double that number 24 times in the space of a few seconds. Wow. He gets it right every time. There is a boy who can tell you the precise time of day, any moment in his sleep. I wrote in the corner on the side there, I can do that. Like I often will, not that precise, but I often wake up and I know exactly what time it is. There is a girl who can correctly determine the exact dimensions of an object 20 feet away. That's amazing. So I just have to stop and think about it. She sees something 20 feet away and can tell exactly like how large it is, its dimensions. Cool. There is a child at age 6 who at age 6 drew such vivid and complex pictures. Some people ranked her version of a galloping horse over one drawn by Da Vinci. So when I read Da Vinci, I just remembered like, oh, he painted the Mona Lisa. I don't know the painting they're talking about there. Yet none of these children have an IQ greater than 70. And I just wrote a little note, flawed, because IQ tests are actually flawed. They do not tell us intelligence, clearly from those examples, because 70 would be almost what they would call mentally slow, an IQ of 70. So then he writes, the brain is an amazing thing. And I wrote, yes, like the brain is so amazing. It's such a cool, amazing thing. Your brain may not be nearly so odd, but it is no less extraordinary, easily the most sophisticated information transfer system on Earth. That's cool. Your brain is fully capable of taking the little black squiggles in this book and deriving meaning from them. So I wrote on the side there inference because I see I'm filling in. He's talking about reading. He doesn't say it. That's why he's making an inference. But I wrote on the side there reading because that's what he's talking about, right? We take these little squiggles and our brain makes sense of them. To accomplish this miracle, your brain sends jolts of electricity crackling through hundreds of miles. Whoa, that's amazing. Hundreds of miles of wires composed of brain cells so small that thousands of them could fit into the period at the end of this sentence. So I just drew that. Thousands of brain cells could fit right there. You accomplish all of this in less time than it takes you to blink. Indeed, you have just done it. What's equally incredible, given our intimate association with it, is this. Most of us have no idea how our brain works. I agree. Like, I think that's totally incredible. It's also crazy that we don't know how our brain works. So I wrote in the corner, this book will change that. Like, we're going to learn about our brains. All right, let me just go a little bit more. My goal is to introduce you to 12 things we know about how the brain works. I call these brain rules. For each rule, I present the science, introduce you to the researchers behind it, and then offer ideas for how the rule might apply to our daily lives, especially at work and school. The brain is complex, and I'm only taking slivers of information from each subject, not comprehensive, but I hope accessible. Here's a sampling of the ideas you'll encounter. So I just made a note. This is science-based, so it's not just opinion. It's based on research. Even as I'm reading it right there, so he's basically saying it's so complicated. He's not gonna, you can't include it all, but he's gonna hopefully make it accessible, put it in what they call layman's terms. Okay, I'm going to stop there, but that's just a little demonstration of my T to T. So for your assignment, you will continue doing that, having your own conversation in writing with the book. And then how you'll demonstrate it to me is I want you to upload a PDF using Cam Scanner or some kind of scanner app, whatever you like. But Cam Scanner is super easy, I promise you. You just use your phone to take pictures, and then it just bundles, it batches all the pictures together into one PDF. So it doesn't take a lot of space. It's simple. You don't have to upload a bunch of pictures. So upload a PDF of your Brain Rules chapter, of your first chapter with your T to T. If you do it on a piece of paper, I suppose you would just have to take pictures, do the Cam Scanner, make a PDF of the notes you wrote. But I just want to make a point though, when you're doing a T to T, talk to the text, you're putting your thoughts, right? Sometimes when we take notes, taking notes when we read is awesome. Definitely do that as much as you can as well. But often when we take notes, we're just rewriting what the book says. This isn't rewriting what the book says. This is our response to what we're reading. All right, so it is my favorite technique. I use it here. I'll just show you real quick. It's another book I'm reading with my English 1A class. And if I just like open the book randomly to any page, I mean, you see highlighting, you see me writing in there, you know, I'm like having a conversation with the book as I'm reading. My thoughts are all over the place. I do T to T. I don't just say to do it, I actually do it myself. All right, have fun learning, partners. Let me know if you have any question as usual, and I look forward to seeing your T to T.